And I think that's actually a great way to start. I have no idea what I want my camera angle to be. There's the opening line for this game. Whatever camera angle you want at home, that's the camera angle we're going to use. Welcome to tonight's game of Relics of War, where we have the most amazing players telling an even more amazing story in a world that is beyond belief. Keith Baker's Eberron, where we're going to be picking up 2 years after the war. Let's say a quick hello to all our players, starting with our ladies in the upper left and going counterclockwise, because everything in our life is kind of countercultural. Counter this, counter that. Start us off, Aria. Tell us about your character. Welcome tonight. And
Hi,
we don't
everyone.
have people in the right windows.
Okay.
None of them caught on to this. I will be moving people
we're just trying
around.
not to interrupt.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just John and I are.
Yeah, we just need to swap.
I'm working on it. You guys talk.
Okay. All right, go.
Hi everyone, I'm Aria. I'm going to be playing as Iounia. She is the very cheerful rendition of a Warlock, the Warlock representative in this group.
And on to Barry. You guys pass it off amongst yourselves. You don't need a DM for this.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm John, aka Alex, aka Barry, and I am a rambunctious wizard ? That is probably going to get us into a bunch of trouble, and you'll probably see that within the first 5 minutes of the game.
And I'm Kitty, going to be playing Lythandr, the devil on poor Barry's shoulder. He is a rogue, and he will be Barry's partner in crime in all of this.
Wait, are you suggesting there's going to be criminal content in this game?
No. I have an alibi, so
I have an excuse.
Barry is my alibi. We were safe.
Did you put a parental advisory warning at the beginning of the stream?
All right.
Also, hey, Seth, I'm going to be playing NorthWatch, a Warforged ranger from the last war. Spent 30 years alone in the forest. Now he's trying to figure out how to live amongst a bunch of weird people.
He's the dad.
Oh no.
You know, I was thinking that as he said, he goes, is there a parental warning? I'm like, isn't that what NorthWatch is?
Error number one.
And then the world takes off.
First crit fail of the session.
Obviously, do
Roll the
not
one I'm
mess
filming.
with NorthWatch, because if you mess with NorthWatch, he'll kick the poop out of you.
You don't know that.
Just did, man. I just made one joke, and all of a sudden you kicked my camera out.
Bam! Just knocked that camera right down.
Oh my. I don't know.
Okay.
Is that somewhere in there? I guess.
We've had all of our technical difficulties for the session, so we should.
No
The rest
more.
of it'll be smooth sailing.
We front-loaded the technical problem.
There we go. You know, and the funny thing is, we log in like a half hour early just to take care of all this. Things are running right. We've had great sessions, and then, poof. Yeah. Okay, that should work. Wonderful. So without any further ado, you kind of know who we're going to be talking about, but you're going to get to know our players and their characters even more as we start off. Welcome to Session 1, Relics of War. Our setting, in Sharn, one of the most magical cities in all of Eberron. A country, a continent, a world where magic runs rampant. So rampant that parts of the world have been blasted off the map, literally. We saw in our last session where the players were taking on NPCs, the culmination of a 100-year war that led to a peace treaty between all the nations. A land called Kyrie was blown off the map. Now, just a scant couple years later, with a truce that is barely holding on this last couple years. There was an explosion. 2 years later, they signed a truce. And now, just 2 years after this tentative truce, we find individuals who've lived through the war trying to establish a new life. But Sharn, this magical city, was untouched throughout the war. Almost a haven, a complex of commerce where various individuals came through. But relics of the war still exist. Warforged, a magical creation. Golems, given life and free will thinking, still roam the lands. Individuals who were once soldiers try to find what's left of their lives and how to make a new life. Individuals who never wanted to be part of the war are still doing their nefarious deeds. Life goes on, and the party seems to never end. And that's actually where we pick up tonight. Our player Barry, or excuse me, our character Barry, had gotten invitations to the once in a billion year party. At least that's what he figured as a young wizard. All the way at the top of Sharn, in the rich of rich. Somehow, he and his friend Lythandr had scored tickets to this epic party that was going to start at 11 o'clock and go all the way to the dawn. Our party, this story, picks up just as the clock has struck midnight, where Barry and Lythandr have been waiting for their friends to come to a party. NorthWatch and Iounia have been working to get up here. Their first time in Sharn. And we find them having just come to the location where they know they're going to meet their friends. They're a little late to the party, but that's okay. It's only an hour in. We're going to pick up with Iounia and NorthWatch. NorthWatch, tell us how you got here.
Oh, man. So NorthWatch, knowing Barry from what is a previous life at this point, had reached out to him to find out where he was these days, and was told to go to Sharn. And he was still in Aundair at the point, which is to the northeast corner of Breland, where Sharn is located. And I think Sharn is in the southwestern corner of Breland. So he literally marched all the way through the forest because that's how he knows how to travel. But yeah, so when he arrived at Sharn, he didn't quite know how to get around, but happened to bump into Iounia, who actually knows how to ask people questions and find directions. So
she has some big amount of people skills. Is very happy to talk to the individuals around her. Very friendly, to be like, hey, we're lost. We're just trying to get to. Do you know someone by the name of Barry? He's a very jovial kind of guy. He has this really big funny hat on his head.
Yeah, NorthWatch definitely. He knows trees and grass. He doesn't know this bizarre structure that he currently is standing within.
Iounia and NorthWatch have been working the last hour, never expecting when Barry invites them to a city that he's just going to neglect to tell them, oh, hey, by the way, this place has towers that go over a mile high into the sky. So here you have NorthWatch, this ranger from the north that's never experienced it, showing up with Iounia. And they have to make it, they're like, oh yeah, we'll make it to the city on time. And they do, but all of a sudden they have to get a mile or so into the sky. And yeah, Barry kind of neglected to tell them that, oh yeah, when you get to the top of the tallest tower, Skyway is not attached to a tower. It's a city floating above the city. And these two, after being so exhausted, had to then find a magical ride by something called a sky coach, which cost them a pretty penny to get all the way to the top where this party was. Iounia and Barry come strolling up, having asked directions how many times, thanks to Iounia being willing to chat with people. And lo and behold, when they get to this mansion estate, and they have to ask, hey, can we get in there? And the guards are giving them a hard time. But Barry and Lythandr were smart enough to leave tickets with their name. The guards were a little apprehensive at first, but they see in the distance that Lythandr and Barry are actually coming out to meet him, and they've brought friends with them because Lythandr and Barry are surrounded by what must be house guards. It's great, so they came not alone. Barry, Lythandr, tell us about this. What did you bring with you?
Look, Lady Iounia, it's Barry.
They brought a whole welcoming party. This is a really nice reception.
You'd likely hear a lot of yelling, and as Barry and his motley crew make their way towards the exit or entrance, exit for them.
Wave very politely to them with a little bit of enthusiasm.
One of the guards slaps your hand down. None of that.
Look, I'm sure this is just a huge
We
misunderstanding.
didn't need your party anyway.
Lythandr, we want to stay in the party. It was really fun.
I hear there's a better party across town.
Wait, really?
Is this not the party we're supposed to be at?
Regardless,
I'm jealous. Work with me there.
Regardless, I know Lythandr. He would never, ever, ever accidentally trip into somebody's diaphragm to steal something.
It was an honest accident.
Or a
I
good...
fell onto the lady. I wasn't trying to grab anywhere on her, I swear.
And, you know, sometimes accidents happen, and when someone gives you a hug, you should say thank you.
We're all getting a little tipsy.
Yeah, exactly. So I think just... Come on, I'll do some more magic tricks. I know you guys love the thing with the pseudo-dragon and the bubbles.
Yeah, he can do more of his pretend stuff.
The guards say,
Fine.
I don't know what you're talking about with the bubbles or any dragging up a bubble butt or whatever you're talking about, but you, and he points at Lythandr, he says, are no longer welcome here. He goes, and you are not allowed back onto this estate ever again. Do I make myself clear? He goes, if you ever, he goes, I'm telling you right now, if my name's not Sergeant Iounia, you will go straight to jail. I'll toss you off of Skyway and we'll see if you can fly. He goes, do you understand me? And he's looking right at Barry. That's what I thought.
Here,
That's a
we
proper
made
response.
your party great. You are going to be lost without us.
You guys hear, NorthWatch and Iounia hear that final comment by Sergeant Iounia as you see your two friends, Barry and Lythandr, pushed out into you. And the guard who you were talking to that slapped your hand down because you were waving says, I guess your invitation's been revoked. And they close the gate in front of you, this massive golden gate with unicorns on it and a phoenix flying overhead. Absolutely gorgeous. I guess you're not going to get a chance to see the mansions and whatnot, NorthWatch and Iounia.
I wanted to try the food.
Now,
The food was terrible.
Barry, it's good to see you again, and I may not
Someone's diaphragm?
That's
be
a long story.
the most versed with the use of language, but from what I understand, those words were damning.
I wouldn't be so harsh about that. It's
Seems
just
pretty final.
it was a little bit of a misunderstanding. Listen, that was just the pre-party. There's a much better after party that we can all go to. Great to see you, by the way. Glad you made it. How was the trip?
Long but peaceful.
Tiring.
Lythandr's gonna start scoping out the wall, looking for any open windows that maybe he could sneak him and his friends through.
You have, one of the things that you already know is that this is a massive estate, whereas all of Sharn is a city of towers and it's really down at the bottom, dirty, corrupt. This is the richer area, the floating city above that actually connects multiple points. They actually have trees up here above some of the clouds and whatnot. So you are actually at the outer exterior wall, which has both numerous magical things to guard it, like a gargoyle that swings its head and looks at you as you start checking out the wall, as well as the human guards, and one very foul-looking, you're pretty sure it's a Goliath by his size, but you don't see any tattoos. So there's numerous things here to protect the place, and you know that you're not welcome back inside. If you want to explore Sharn or the Skyway, you're going to have to find it somewhere else. And Barry, you've been in Sharn long enough to know that hanging around Skyway and loitering without a destination, especially when you've got, shall we say, some less than rich people with you, is going to get you in trouble with the law pretty quick, because the law is pretty much whatever the watch on hand says it is.
Well, when NorthWatch notices Lythandr looking around, he'll sort of lean down to sort of kind of get a similar perspective and try to see what Lythandr is looking at.
Oh, fuck.
Hey there.
Hello.
How do you fall into someone's
Come on, I think there's a better party this way, right, Barry?
Yeah. The after super secret.
Yeah,
after
that
party.
one. I remember it. They were telling us we were going to be special guests, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then why didn't you just have us go to that party first?
Because there's an order to being into the after party. You have to go through all the other pre-parties before you get to that level.
And if you go to the absolute best party, you won't realize how much better that party is than all the crappy parties.
Exactly. You have to taste bad to know what good is. This way.
Glad to believe you. Following.
As you guys are heading to the magical after party, the one that my camera doesn't want to pick up. As you guys are heading to the magical after party, down in another part of Skyway, you notice that you're pretty sure you're being, shall we say, followed, tracked, maybe watched. And judging by their shape and size, you're pretty sure it's some guards. So it takes a little bit before Lythandr, who's leading you to this after party, takes you in a couple circuitous directions. You end up finding yourself at one of the magical floating bridges of Skyway, because Skyway is set up of these beautiful floating islands that have been knit together. It is truly an oasis, and this bridge must extend 1,000 feet in front of you across to another one of the floating islands. Even in and of itself, it's a beautiful work of architecture. The fact that there's a man on it, as you see walking out, you're probably about 100 feet on it, heading towards the other island, when you see this man stand up, look at you funny, smile with this wolfish-looking grin, and then leap over the edge.
Oh my, looking over the edge.
I want you each to make perception rolls to see if you saw what he was doing.
I'm pretty good at those. Hey, 22.
4.
6. It's very like that. Like somebody jumped. What?
17.
Me and Lythandr had drinks. Y'all didn't.
That's true.
Yeah. That's it, you two were drinking. The sober individuals who didn't drink anything happened to notice, like, NorthWatch noticed something really odd about the weapon that he was holding as he dove off. You know, it was this long dirk-looking thing, but it was shaped oddly. You're not sure you've ever seen a weapon like it before. Iounia, you noticed something about the way he smiled, and when I said wolfish grin, it actually looked like his face was shaped more like a wolf. Looked human, but somehow it jutted out, and his fangs, all the teeth, looked really long in a way that you may know if you do a history check from something you've seen before. What you both noticed, that the two clueless ones noticed, is that he was standing over a body on the ground.
Just as a quick side note, one of my favorite enemies is shifters.
Oh, well, guess what? You automatically know it's a shifter, since that is your favorite enemies.
Okay.
And Iounia, how'd you roll?
Oh, 6.
Yeah. Luckily, NorthWatch knows what this is.
I'm great at history.
Is that person okay?
Ask me about art history. We'll talk then.
They look like they're sleeping. We should probably keep moving. They probably were already at the after party.
But if they were at the after party, why would they ever leave? We should bring them back there at least. And
While they're talking,
While they're talking,
NorthWatch will simply approach the body.
they're still chatting about it while their large friend made of metal, wood, stone, just walks up ever so nonchalantly,
Very quietly.
moves up, gets above the body, and looks down, and you can see immediately that there is blood pooling out around the entire body from his chest where there's a wound.
I'll make a medicine check to see if I can determine what kind of wound it is. 21.
NorthWatch bends down and starts checking the body. What are the rest of you doing?
Lythandr's just gonna tell NorthWatch. Not that, like, he has DNA, but, like, don't get DNA on the maybe crime scene. You know, just looking out for this new guy.
What is DNA?
I don't know.
Just be careful.
Okay. I promise.
Go peek over NorthWatch's shoulder to see what's happening.
So with a 21 medicine, can I determine like what kind of wound this is or what caused it?
Absolutely. As you're checking it out, and you've noticed two things. As you're messing with the wound, he's not moving at all. This individual's dead. You're pretty darn certain of that, unless he's got magic on him. Which the wound actually tells you may be the case, because it's incredibly odd. The wound is shaped like a plus that's the size of your palm, right in here, the circle. So it's a plus up and down, and it's just gushing open. Literally, you can take one of your 3 digits for your finger and fit it all the way in. The weapon that did this is unlike any you've seen before.
But it definitely isn't the weapon that I saw the shifter wielding.
No, it is. That was such an odd weapon. It's shaped like a plus. The dirk is not flat.
Okay. I don't know what a shifter is doing in Sharn. This is
Hiding?
far south.
Being a shifty individual.
Oh, plot point. First plot point for the characters. Well done, Kitty Doe.
I'm sure they had a perfectly valid reason for being here, and are we? That person's okay, right?
No, this person is dead.
I don't think people can be okay with a hole in them like that.
Like dead?
You're still
That's right.
standing there
I
checking
mean,
it
even
out
if they're not.
when you see a figure coming across the bridge, and you hear, couldn't even make it a half hour without trouble. And it's Sergeant Iounia, who was summoned to throw Lythandr and Barry out of the mansion.
I say we run now.
Sergeant, good to see you. There's been a murder.
He looks, I see. Why did you kill him? And he starts walking forward. Now he has at least 4 other guards behind him.
The
You don't
wolf man's
understand.
over the edge. He killed him.
What Lady Iounia has said.
Something tells me they're not going to believe that.
Yeah. What he just said. He goes, really? You expect me to believe that you, who just got tossed out of here with these guys, and now you bring a warrior in here, didn't just kill this fine man?
What was his name? Do you know this man?
He goes, I don't have to know him. Clearly, he's of a higher cut than the rest of you. All I have to do is look at his cloak to notice that. And suddenly you realize this is absolutely a scenario where he goes straight by wealth.
Hey, Lythandr, remember that time at the village where there was the big chair and like all the statues were around it, and you grabbed one of the statues, and then the whole town got really, really mad?
I am well aware of this time, yes.
Remember what we did after they got really, really mad?
We ran away?
Yeah, I think we
No,
should
let's go do that.
Yeah. The two will sprint.
You turn around, and while NorthWatch and Iounia are still standing here, you see them sprint off, and they go sprinting right towards another guard that had come up behind. And Cable
hi
goes,
there.
"Whoa, I don't think so."
Hi. I was just trying to direct you.
Trying to stretch my legs a little.
You guys want to see a magic trick?
Cable
I
goes,
would love to see a magic trick.
Okay, I'll show you a magic trick, and he'll start rummaging through his bag.
Cable goes, turn around, head on back. Now, Cable's a lot younger, whereas Sergeant Iounia is older. Cable's a young guy. He's kind of in his prime. Older than Barry and definitely well built. But he goes,
I have exactly one question real quick. Just, is it Sergeant Iounia or Iono? Because the first time you said
Iono.
Iona, but I know
Sorry.
I realized my name was getting confused in there.
I was looking at your name and all of a sudden it became an A. I guess it really depends on where you're from in the continent.
Different pronunciations.
Sure. We're going to go with that. I like that.
So this is a flurry of activity, and unfortunately, NorthWatch is not exactly the quickest on the uptake. But if there is a break in the conversation, he'll look back at the sergeant because he recognizes authority. He knows what authority is. He spent his life following authority. He'll say, "Look, Sergeant, I understand that there could be a misunderstanding, but I invite you to inspect the wound and inspect the weapons on our person, and you'll see that they don't match.
As NorthWatch begins to say this, Cable goes, and you know, Sergeant, I could see him back there from, I was tailing him, as you told me to do, and he goes, there was another person here. Iouonia's face just gets furious. He's like, Cable, what are you saying? And Cable goes, there was somebody else here. It wasn't them. He goes, I was following behind them. They actually approached the body afterwards.
Told you.
Iouonia's like, you know, he goes, this was real simple. Real clear cut till a minute ago, Cable. Now that's your fault. He goes, I'm not sure, I don't believe that you're not a part of this. Cable goes,
Shouldn't you trust your own men?
Or that, trusting your own men.
you see a couple Snickers from the floor behind him, and you realize that Cable, who's wearing the same outfit of a city guard and whatnot, obviously has some sort of tension here between these two. Go ahead, since Iounia said it, make an what's the one that starts with an I? Insight roll. Thank you. Wow, it's late at night, man. It's been a long day for me. I need an insight roll to know what I'm doing.
Oof.
Woo!
Rolling rocks tonight so far.
Woo.
19 for NorthWatch, but Iounia knocking it out of the park.
22.
Iounia, you who had challenged him on this, realized very quickly that Sergeant Iounia is not just ticked off, but looks like he wants revenge for something. This is personal. As Iounia says very, very, almost off the cuff, he goes, you know what, Cable? This is your opportunity. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you to solve this. He goes, the rest of you, he goes, you have 24 hours. Cable, here's the simple thing. You're entrusted with their care. If they disappear, or they don't find the actual real killer, he goes, you get to pay for the crime. He goes, because obviously you're their only alibi, and if there's somebody guilty and they just happen to get away from you, you can pay for it. The other guards behind him start laughing. He goes, 24 hours, Cable. It's about midnight right now, as I judge. Yeah, midnight tomorrow night to solve this. And he looks at the rest of you and says, I wouldn't try leaving town because we have contacts everywhere.
Yeah, I assume.
The sergeant turns around. The other guards at this point actually start laughing as they follow him away. And you're left with Cable standing there.
Cool, murder mystery. Let's do it.
Why would we leave town before the after party?
Well, now we have to solve a murder mystery.
Cable rubs his brows and says,
I thought that was his job. I mean, I'm sure
No,
you're
come on. We gotta help him. He's helping us.
He looks so good at his job. Look at him. He's got like the guard uniform and everything.
We should go.
You have any idea how much easier it would be to figure out with more eyes looking around? Come on. The guy jumped down there. The least we can do is go down to wherever he jumped to and see what we find. There's probably a dead body down there. It's really not going to look good for us, but they're probably down there.
NorthWatch will approach Cable and say, I will help you find the shifter. I'm quite good at it.
Wait, are you saying we should jump off the place to find another dead body to then get in more trouble?
Well, admittedly, maybe climbing down would probably be a better idea than jumping, but
I'm
taking whatever weird flying things bring us down.
No, I do know a spell that would probably come in handy for all of this.
Cool, show me.
Cable says, you know scrying? You can figure out who did this?
I thought he was talking about some sort of
I wouldn't,
slow fall.
I wouldn't say. I mean, I you know, if given the enough time and resources, I definitely could, because you know I'm a fantastic wizard. But you know, I don't have my spell book with me right now, and you know this is a pretty long ritual that you know it takes a little bit of time.
Scrying?
And no, it's something I invented myself, actually. It's called It doesn't matter
Barry's-
what it's called.
We don't need.
Lythandr knows about it.
Looks at Lythandr expectantly.
Barry
Well,
searches for words while the
Remember that
the-
time I found your watch? That you told me was definitely yours?
Cable
Yes, I
actually,
remember
what he
that
had
so
pulled
well.
out was an hourglass that he looked at and he goes, "We only have hours." He goes, "You can talk as long as you like." He goes, "But I'm telling you right now, I'm not losing my life for any of you." He looks to the Warforged, he goes, "I understand you don't have to follow orders anymore, but I appreciate your offer." He goes, "Would you do me a favor and pick up the body? We can't leave it here. And if any of you disappear, I have no problem alerting the guard instantly to who you are. I am not going to die. My family is not going to lose me because of you."
Absolutely. What is your rank, soldier?
He goes, you see him take a breath as if he doesn't want to admit it, and he goes, "I'm not a soldier, I'm a guard. And
Oh.
sadly, I'm only a private. I'm a night watch, technically. We're a
Well,
little
don't
bit
worry,
less than a
private.
private, but
Don't worry, private. I don't have a rank, so I am a tool for you to command."
he goes,
And he'll walk over to the body and lift it up.
you lift it up and you're carrying this, the very cloak that the sergeant had talked about is elegant and soft. Now most of it blood-stained red. And as you pick it up, more body fluids leak out from this wound. Whatever it was, literally not only penetrated him, but opened him up in a way that didn't seal at all. And you realize that shape of the wound was designed to bleed somebody out quickly.
Right. While he's standing there, though, he's going to take a look over the edge, and he'll ask, "Private, what is that area down below?"
He goes, well, he goes, if you follow it all the way down, 5,000 plus feet, probably about 6,000 by the time you hit the river, and he points as you're looking, holding the body. He goes, "Don't drop that body over the edge." He goes,
I won't.
but he starts pointing to various towers that are hundreds of feet below you. He goes, "That's this tower." And he starts naming each one. He goes, over there, he goes, "You can see that's still Memphis." He goes, "Right over here, this is the central plateau over that." He goes, "But it really depends on where you're hitting." And you are quickly reminded you're over a mile up in the air on the Skyway. Wherever this individual went to, he either landed on something or he had some sort of flight spell to get out of here.
Mm-hmm. If we're to find them, then I suppose that's probably where we should start.
He looks at you and says, "Jumping off the edge?"
Yes.
Or climbing down.
He says,
Well,
"I think we should probably dispose of this body properly, and that's not throwing it off the edge into the city below."
does somebody lay claim to this body?
Do you know who this is?
Each of you can make a standard perception roll. Barry and Lythandr have advantage on it because you've been in the city.
Ha 5.
13.
Oh my.
So perceptive.
The 13 and 15, the good teens there and whatnot, actually recognize the symbol on the front of his, well, actually on the back of his cloak now, but it's sitting on the front of him because as NorthWatch picked him up and I talked about the cloak, he put it on top. The symbol is actually of a unicorn, and you recognize it as one of the major houses. This is a courier. Cavill looks at you and says, "We're going to take him back to his house. They'll know what to do with the body. And then you can decide from there where you want to go."
Okay. Just kind of goes over to follow to go back to the house, wherever this guy leads.
He tells you where the house is, and since you're already on Skyway, pardon me, on Skyway, he tells you the house has a local chapter up here. It takes about a half hour to walk there. By the time you arrive, the gates, of course, are closed, the building's closed, but the watch has some authority, and he tells the individual out front to go and summon their master. All of you are brought inside, and again, it's elegant in here, it's beautiful and whatnot. When you get inside, the body, still carried in NorthWatch's arms, is gently laid out upon an open table while you wait. Soon a woman comes along. You can tell that she's been woken up from her sleep, and she says, "What's all this about?" And then she sees the body. She comes over to it and inspects it and says, "Targ,
I'm sorry.
how did you find him?"
Laying down, kind of like that, with some sort of weird wolfy guy over him. The guy jumped off the bridge.
One of ours, laid out, attacked a courier of House Orion. You see one of the other individuals look over, and she watches what she says, and she says, "Come, allow me to get you something to drink." Realizing that this is the middle of the night, clearly she doesn't want this to be well known. She leads you to a back room where you're invited to sit. Sergeant Cavell says, "We brought him here because of his crest." She looks over and she says, "Clearly, House Orion. Any fool could have seen that." She goes, "Did you even bother to notice that his strap is empty?" Cavell looks and says, "No, I didn't." She says,
Didn't think it was
"Clearly
our
he's
business to
been
go
robbed."
checking.
Say that again?
Didn't think it was our business to go checking what he may or may not have been delivering.
She looks at you as if noticing you for the first time and says, "Why are all of you even involved in this?"
Because we found the body.
Cavell confirms what you're saying. She says, "You found his body, and
Yes.
somehow that entitles you to come here with the guard?"
Well,
And
the guard's trying to pin the murder on us. So we're trying to find the murderer.
Cavell quickly interjects, saying, "No one's trying to be pinned with a crime. They are exonerating themselves and confirming their story right now." The lady, Shelia, says, "Well, whatever the reason, we appreciate you bringing the body back. That's all. Go away."
NorthWatch wordlessly starts to walk towards the front door.
Was there something important that he was delivering that would have made him a target? Because that might give us a list of suspects.
Well, I can't say what he was carrying. I would have no idea. A private courier carries documents from one location to the other. But I suppose I do know, or have ways of finding out, who he was delivering or working for. Give me one moment. And she leaves the room, giving you a moment to talk to one another.
We should ask if they saw
Murder
a
mystery.
looking guy.
What was that, Barry?
Sterling.
Maybe we should ask if they've seen the wolfy looking guy before.
I don't know. He seems more like a middleman to me.
Hired hitman, maybe.
Yeah. So I
Wait.
doubt they'll have seen him.
But he might work for some sort of, enemy group.
Mm-hmm. A small pawn in something far bigger. Honestly, I think corruption starts at the top. I think this is all leading back to that guard. I think he set it up from the beginning.
Cavell,
Maybe.
who's been listening right along, he goes, "Sergeant Iounia is many things. And I can't say that I have great love for the man. But setting up a murder, that seems somewhat beneath him. Especially a murderer of House Orion. Do you realize that they control almost all the passenger vehicles, the very lightning rail that goes across all of Corvair?"
No,
Yes,
I didn't.
that's-
I don't know who they are at all.
He goes, "You are in the house that invented and worked with Karnath to create the lightning rail. These people control everything that flies and moves and spans everything except for the Mornlands. He goes, when it was still Kyrie, they did, of course. And at that point, the door opens, and she walks back in and says, he's correct. Clearly having been listening the entire time. She says, there's nowhere that our house doesn't reach, including other continents. We are not just on Corvera, she corrects him. She says, Tars was on a, shall we say, solo mission tonight. He goes, I can't tell you exactly who he was working for. He had been requested to go to a tavern elsewhere in the less wealthy districts, shall we say.
Okay.
Meanwhile, while they're having that discussion, NorthWatch, having been commanded to leave, will be outside. Can I attempt to try to maybe start finding any kind of trail of a shifter nearby?
Well, interestingly, because the body wasn't brought into the room, NorthWatch, as he exited the one room, has the opportunity to search the body at greater length.
Oh, okay.
Because you're going to be walking by it on your way out. If that's what you want, you're trying to trail the shifter, you might be able to find something on the body.
So I'll go ahead and roll survival to try and see if I can find any kind of identifier left on the body, or any kind of trace left on the body. I believe I get advantage for this against a favorite enemy, so let's see what we get. Another 22. Holy cow.
Wow, you are rolling hot tonight. As you go through the body searching it, you actually find a small token on it. You look at it, and you know what it is because you've had experience in inns before. This is a token for a free drink. And it has the name of an inn called the Rat's Paw Tavern on it. I shouldn't say an inn, a tavern. Rat's Paw Tavern.
Okay, I'll pocket that.
You pocket that. You don't find anything else that would identify which shifter other than a little bit of fur that is caught under the fingernails of the courier. Clearly, he must have clawed at the individual. The fur is a grayish and black color.
Oh, that will help.
Back inside the room where the other three are, the lady asks, is there anything else I can do for you?
No, not that I can think of right now.
Excellent. Well, I'm tired. You should probably be leaving then. Night Watch, you've left the body. I think you've done your duty. You can be on your way. Ava looks and says, if that's all you want, and then follows the other out. You find NorthWatch having not left the building yet. He's still at the body.
His hooded head will slowly turn to acknowledge the others as they come out.
Come on, we're gonna go look for clues.
Certainly.
Just think of this as the after party.
It's a little bit more fun than a party, in my opinion.
It'll only be fun if we get out with our lives.
That's the thrill of it.
So, I've been a little confused about this. The word party means several things. What party are you referring to? A group of people?
A group of people having a good time.
Like, a shindig, he says very excitedly.
A shindig?
I don't think I know shindig.
You know fun, right, NorthWatch?
I am aware of the
Shimmy
word.
your shoulders a little.
He
slowly does the same.
Yeah, you just gotta get into the groove. There you go. That's what a party is.
Exactly. Now you're part of the party. Now you're the life of the party. Well, I'm the life of the party, but you're like the other life of the party.
Is that all that is required to party?
He's the third life of the party.
I mean, sometimes you can give it a little pizzazz, and he'll sort of start like swinging his hips around.
We're wasting time walking out the door.
Oh, we're losing people. The party's moving over there.
She's casting a cloud spell. As the party actually leaves the Orion estate, you find yourself out front doing the whatever dance that is in Sharn. I don't know in Corvair. That might be something from the north. Maybe NorthWatch taught it to you. But as you party line out the front, you get to the street and you hear the guard that had originally had to open the door at Kville's request make some comment about fools and drunkards every time of the night. Slamming the door behind you, you find yourself once more on the street. Kville says, "The case has gone cold. If you want, I can take you down to the watch now."
Well, wait, but what about the tavern he was supposed to go to?
We don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
That's just NorthWatch.
Oh.
But I was gonna go down and try to find the body where he jumped down to. This isn't cold.
No, and I may have found something of a lead, and NorthWatch will retrieve both a collection of fur and the token for the Rat Spot Tavern.
Did he have a pet?
Examining it.
Did not locate a pet. Are you aware of what a shifter is?
Kville says,
obviously. Who doesn't know what a shifter is?
he goes,
I don't know what a shifter is.
I think we're supposed to pretend like we know what a shifter is so we seem cool.
If you act like you know, I can be the dumb one in this case.
Oh my gosh, that's so smart. Oh, you're so smart.
I know.
Kville's head goes back and forth while you two talk, listening to this. As you
That
guys
whispering is super
whisper-
loud and obvious, just to let you know.
No. As you two whisper back and forth, he's just kind of watching you go back and forth with each other, having no clue what you're saying, but wondering why there's a sudden whispering conversation. And he asks the obvious. He goes, "Do you have some information about this? Were you meeting him?" His suspicion becomes clear because you keep whispering whenever he talks about the case going cold, and he's beginning to, you don't even have to roll insight. He's beginning to wonder if maybe you actually are a part of this, even though you didn't kill him. His suspicion is becoming very clear.
No, sir. We were simply discussing the manner in which somebody would hire a shifter in order to do such a dirty, pesky deed, and I was asking the most knowledgeable Barry what a shifter was, because I was embarrassed about
And I gave him a perfect definition of what a shifter is, because obviously I know exactly.
Is there a perfect definition?
Uh-huh.
What is it?
Oh my gosh, I think we need to walk over there.
Yeah, right. Right. Wait, NorthWatch, didn't you say you found something?
Oh yes, do tell.
Nordy, pal?
Right. So what I have located is the fur from a shifter. They are a disenfranchised people from the Eldine reaches north of Elendar. I spent most of my life keeping an eye on them. I don't know what they would be doing down here in Sharn.
Mm-hmm. My thoughts exactly.
Kville is incredibly impressed as NorthWatch speaks and says, "So do you know this shifter?"
Not personally.
Maybe we should go to the tavern that's on this coin.
I had a similar thought, Lady Iounia.
He says, "Can I see the coin?"
He'll take it and he'll just completely gullibly actually like present it as if to give it to him.
He reaches out, looks at it, in your palm of your hand, doesn't take it, and says, "Rat's Tavern." Stops, ponders for a moment. He goes, "It's all the way down in Lower Dura." He goes, "Why would a courier from Orion have a drink coin from there?" He goes, "That's the slums." He goes,
Obviously, there was some sort of business going on that wasn't really on the level, and they wanted somewhere shifty to get it done.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but normally when when me and Lythandr hang out, we have this rule about coins where whenever I find a coin, I have to give it to him.
I can hold on to that coin.
So maybe since Lythandr's really good at holding on to coins and won't lose it, maybe we should give it.
I promise. I will not lose it. Just deposit it right here.
Sounds fair to me. He goes ahead and hands it to Lythandr.
Ooh, pretty coin.
As Lythandr looks at it, Lythandr's like, it has the value of a drink, but you realize it's a wooden coin with this etched symbol saying free drink in the tavern, but it's got no value as far as money. So if you want to get your value out of it, you're going to have to go get a drink.
We should go to the tavern.
That's literally what we were planning.
I know, but I feel especially like we should go to the tavern now.
Cable asks, he goes, how do you plan on getting there? He goes, if we're going to have to get all the way down from here, back down to the towers, and then walk, he goes, well, if we walk the towers, he goes, and take the bridge, he goes, I do know the spiral at the back, he goes, we could probably get down to the main cliffs and get you there, I don't know, maybe by a couple hours.
That would be fine.
If you really have.
Well, I mean, the wolf guy just jumped, so...
I can't survive a fall like that. Maybe you can.
Well, of course
You're welcome to jump. We'll meet you there. Maybe you can find information before we get there.
You know,
Isn't there a back alley sort of area we could take? I'm 90% sure I know a faster way.
why not take, you know, like a sky courier or something?
Oh,
Sky cabs, sky couriers, magic. It's all available. Barry and Lythandr have been in Sharn for quite a bit now, and they know of a number of ways.
I mean, I know a
problem
few
is
friends
it's
who
all
have
about
some less than savory ways of getting down there fast.
Lythandr knows
Oh,
actually
please
one of the fastest.
Oh,
and
please not that again, Lythandr. That...
Now, Barry, they're nice people as long as you don't stare
I'm
at them.
afraid of heights.
Just close your eyes.
You're in a kind of funny place if you're afraid of heights.
Don't say.
It's like 6,000 feet down, casually.
You don't acknowledge it. It's not real.
Yeah,
It's like Lythandr.
That's what I try to do with my girlfriend, but she still shows up sometimes.
You have a girlfriend?
I had one.
Suddenly,
Wait.
Barry's able to start piecing together the individuals that Lythandr had taken him to before, who had talked about the fastest way down is just to jump. And Lythandr had said, it's okay, they're spells. They pay wizards to stop people falling. And now you're beginning to wonder about that whole girlfriend thing and Lythandr's knowledge of fast way down. Lythandr had never actually answered the question when Barry asked, what if there's no wizard there to catch you? They had changed the subject. But it's clearly the fastest way down if you want to get all the way to the bottom.
While they're talking, NorthWatch will lean down and say, pardon the interruption, friends. While I am relatively confident in my ability to track this ne'er-do-well, the longer it takes, the more difficult it will become.
Right, all right, follow me. I know the fastest way down from here, but
couriers. I thought we were doing a sky courier.
no, we're going down faster.
No, we're doing the thing.
Of money.
I'm not doing that thing.
No, it's.
Look, trust me, okay? I don't put my faith in willy-nilly things like magic. I have a way. Just believe in me.
But Lythandr, I thought it. But I know magic in that.
Yes, you have many tricks. Let's go.
But it's
Walking.
Lythandr for the 100th time. I'm a wizard.
You can say whatever you want about your magic mumbo jumbo.
Months, and she's.
So, we start heading towards my less savory friends.
Lythandr, who has never been up in Skyreach before, or Skyway before, starts leading you off towards the same bridge where the individual was stabbed earlier. But you see Lythandr looking around constantly like there's got to be a back alley somewhere. And Lythandr, he keeps weaving all around, starting in one alley, coming back. You all notice this and whatnot, realizing that maybe Lythandr doesn't know up here as good as he thought. Now,
You're
Barry,
wasting time.
We've passed the same point 4 times.
It's all part of the process, right?
We're finding a sky
I'm getting
courier.
in the zone.
I have intentions of solving this murder mystery, and you are not helping. Looks at Cable. Where do we get a sky courier?
He goes, well, Orion handles all the passenger work. They could have pointed us towards whatever you like. He goes, but traditionally, he goes, it's the exterior edges, not the bridges. He goes, if we head all the way to one of the exterior edges, he goes, the problem is it's late at night and Skyway doesn't do that. He goes, but for the right amount of coin, I'm sure, you know, we can find anything that you'd like. He goes, probably be up to 5 silver, though, at this time of night for each of you. Which is an exorbitant rate.
I'm telling you guys, I can find us a cheaper way.
How much gold per person?
5 silver apiece.
Oh, 5 silver.
It would be a total of, in that case, 2 gold and 5 silver.
How many of the necklaces that nice lady gave you before we left the party does it cost?
What necklace? Barry.
If Lythandr's so good at holding on to coins, he's probably got enough coins to pay for us.
I have no money. I'm afraid I have nothing.
Wait, but what about the 20? What about the 20 gold?
Barry. Remember, we spent that already.
Well, yeah, I know we had to pay the 15 for that one, like leg of lamb that one time, but you should still.
Fine, I will pay for us all to go. How many of us are there?
5.
5. That would be what?
Cavil says you don't pay for watch. We're allowed to move freely within the city.
And
In that case, it would be 2 gold.
And
Well, yeah.
I know my numbers, and I definitely do because I'm smart because I'm a wizard. That should only cost you
2 gold.
Go ahead, Barry.
and silver.
Good job, Barry. I'll pull out the 2 gold pieces.
See, 10 silver.
What?
Here.
That's how Lythandr taught me. Lythandr's the one who taught me how money works.
No, you see, each gold is 10 silver, and when you count to 10 and then convert it to a 1,
But I don't know. Why are you converting backwards from the 2 gold? You were already told 5 silver a person. Why would you not just multiply that by 4?
Wait, but what? So when I asked you to break my gold coin for the.
We're all focusing on this far too much. Let's just get onto the sky lift and descend.
All right.
Let's go find a courier.
So we go and find a sky courier, which Lythandr pays for.
Yes.
Lythandr pays. It takes a far less time to find a willing cab when you're willing to pay the price. Because the NorthWatch, I apologize. The City Watch is more than willing to bang on a door and get demand service.
Mm-hmm.
And while he may not have the, shall we say, regal status of others, he does have the privilege that comes with being a watch of the city. Doors open, but the fee is still high. Because you're only going down, it would cost less. But Cavil quickly steps up and says, no, we're not just going down. You're taking us all the way down to Dura. He goes, you're going to be taking us to the Rat's Paw Tavern. The individual accepts the money, and shortly thereafter you're crammed into what appears to be a rickshaw that has skids instead of wheels.
This is uncomfortable.
The individual walks to the front, and the 4 of you are crammed in, and you thought it would be tight with 4 regular individuals, but you have a
closed, or is
Warforged.
it kind of open top?
It's entirely open. It's just a seat. So literally, if you lean forward, you can fall right off and go straight down. And nothing makes that more clear than the minute the individual in front, after pushing you into it, takes hold of the 2 wood bars, sprouts wings out of his back. Beautiful black wings that look like lace. And with one massive beat of the wings, the wind courses over you, and with one jerk, he pulls you over the edge. The rickshaw falls down slightly at an angle and then comes back up and levels itself as he flies, and you begin to float further and further down, and he spirals you above the city. His voice echoes magically behind you, as if coming out, as if he was speaking from open air behind you, even though he's in front of you. Same voice as he says, now descending towards Memphis Plateau. On your left, you will see, and he begins to describe towers as if you were taking a tour.
Just look happily at all of them.
Anything. Various lights on towers are here and there as he lazily drifts by one, pointing things out, talking, leading you further, and he goes, now heading over towards the upper estates of the Glass Tower. This tower was actually built, we believe, all the way back in, and he starts describing different details.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
NorthWatch is interested.
Yeah.
It is good.
Iounia is learning.
Great. As you take the nice leisurely tour, not worried about time, you've now killed 1 hour up there with this, and now you kill another hour before he finally touches you down at the Rat's Paw Tavern. The skids land on the rough wood nearby, and you get out. This place is as far different from the beautiful city above with its streets and its cleanliness to the other extreme of dirtiness. There's a stench here, and it's packed tight. Numerous individuals are still awake. This part of the city does not sleep, and they look up as you come near, eyeing the wealth of the rickshaw that you've gotten out of, and wondering just how much your body is worth. The Rat's Paw Tavern is easily recognized by the circular symbol and the cutout silhouette of a rat with red glowing eyes and a paw that is almost the size of the head that seems to wave and beckon you close, like this.
Impressive. Walking in.
Going over and opening up the tavern, you see a man with his head down on top of the bar. Look up at you and go, hey, friends, come on over. Glad you made it. And then his head falls right back down. Behind the bar, there's a human, and he looks up at you, puts down the glass that he was polishing, and says, wow, glad I didn't call last round yet. Come on in. Party of 5. Ooh. And he looks and notices that it's the watch.
I have
See
a
him take a
free
deep
drink.
breath. What's that?
I have a free drink.
He goes, come on in. Guess I'm not making money off of that. Takes the drink token from you, puts it inside his apron, goes over
Do
and
you know
goes,
when you gave those out, or do you just give those out at
Rocket.
random?
He goes, give them out when somebody buys a drink for somebody. He goes, if you want to buy a round, he goes, I'll give that guy a drink too at the end of the bar. You notice over there that he's got at least 2 or 3 tokens in front of him. The guy stands up and he goes, drink! Yes! I'll take it! And then his head goes back down.
Letting the others get to this social ritual that they're about to engage in, NorthWatch is just going to start looking around the tavern to see if he can find anything useful.
This tavern is the tiniest room. This would have been a bedroom back where you were from at the inn that you worked at. This
Sure.
is like this hole in the wall, and I am not kidding. It's got to be the size of a dining room. I mean, it's smaller than the eating room back at the old inn you worked at. She would have never. I mean, this would have been a storage room practically. And when I say ramshackle, it consists of 1 table, 2 chairs with what looks like a beat-up nightstand that you're pretty sure has a leg that's the wrong size because the top of it sits at an angle. This guy that's passed out at the bar, which is nothing more than a piece of wood held up by 2 stilts at the other end, and room for 3 stools at it, one of which is taken up by a drunk guy. The man behind the counter is literally serving from the kegs right there. This guy's obviously trying to make his own business as best he can just to get by.
Yeah, NorthWatch is trying not to judge the facilities too difficult, but too harshly, but it's a little difficult. He's very distracted by the condition of the place.
The man behind the counter now is asking, he goes, so, other than a free drink, what do you want here?
We're wondering if you know an individual. She starts describing the few details that she can recall from the shifter that she saw, including the shiftiness, the wolf-like features.
You just start describing this man with a toothy grin, the elongated face and whatnot, and the guy looks and says, information has value. He goes, you don't think I stay up all night just to have some drunk sitting at my bar? He goes, how about you buy a drink, be sociable, and maybe with a bit of conversation, we might talk.
Okay, how much for a drink?
He goes, let's see. He starts to sense that you pick up really quick. He's like, I can make money here. He goes, well, round of drinks, I think might be worth at least 6 copper. And you realize there's only 5 of you. He's definitely padded the price for what would amount to just swill.
So if I just want 1 drink, I have to pay 1 1/5 copper?
He goes, you getting saucy with me in the middle of the night? Fine.
I'm just wondering.
1 copper. He goes over, grabs a glass, and you realize very quickly it's a dirty glass, and he starts filling it and puts it down in front of you. Takes the copper from you, bites it and bends it a little bit, and then sticks it into his apron along with the other stuff, with the wood tokens.
Barry, could you perhaps... I don't know. It seems like places like these would appreciate a performance.
Oh,
Like the bubbles and the flute.
but I don't have bubbles or a flute or a pseudo dragon.
Done.
NorthWatch will actually reach into his cloak and he'll pull out a lute that he's carrying with him.
How many people are in the bar?
I think it's just us and the 1 drunk.
There's just the bartender, the drunk, you guys, and you're sitting there looking around going, what the heck are we even going to find out? When the door opens and 4 halflings walk in. Remember I talked about that nightstand-sized table? They go over and take the chairs around it. And a couple of them keep looking at you as they talk. And the bartender immediately goes over, reaches beneath the counter, and pulls out smaller mugs. They're mugs, they're just smaller. Fills them up, and they're all clean, and puts them on a tray and takes them right over. And the halflings, which are dressed pretty darn well, dark colors, pay him and whatnot. And he thanks them and comes back over to you guys. He goes, you know, bar ain't that big. You gonna drink? He goes, and what about your machine here? Does it drink?
I put down a silver. Buy a round for everybody.
Now we're talking, and suddenly he starts to loosen up. And he picks up the silver, puts it into his pouch, pulls out a glass for all 3 of you, including the Warforged, starts filling them up one by one and says, name's Alpha. He goes, who are all you, and what brings you here?
Iounia. Like I said, we're looking for a individual that we saw previously.
These are my friends, Barry the Wizard, Lythandr the Lythandr, and NorthWatch.
Alpha says, looks as you describe the individual again that, actually, you didn't describe him, you just said you were looking for your friend. He goes, you know, and you see him kind of look around a little bit more nervous. He goes, yeah, I can't say, yep, I haven't seen anybody here at all. And he speaks very loudly.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he would catch up. I don't think NorthWatch would catch up on that.
Why are you yelling?
So do the halflings know the person?
Alpha Lucy goes, I'm not yelling, I'm just making it very clear there's no information for sale here. We respect the privacy of our people here at all times. The drunk at the end of the bar goes, Privacy! I want a drink! My glass isn't full. Privately empty.
Oh, Iounia bought her up for everyone in the bar. That the halflings, the drunk, it's everyone. So
Yeah, but he didn't fill his drink. As I said, the guy still got some tokens there at the end. But now that he seems to be a little bit woken up, the bartender, Alpha, goes over, takes that same wooden token out that you gave him and puts it down onto the stack with the other 3 in front of the drunk, who's put his head back down now.
NorthWatch will slowly put his drink down in front of the drunk.
Maybe.
Oh, subtle. I like.
So there's no information for sale here.
Alpha says, "Of course not. We respect privacy." And he goes, "Excuse me." And he goes over to the halfling, since you bought the round of drinks, and puts down a token near each one for free drinks.
Oh. And NorthWatch will lean down to Barry and say, "Well, the environment doesn't need to be asked for information." And then he starts to trek. So I'm going to see if I can find any signs of shifters that might have been here. Looking for that black and gray fur.
You're looking around for signs, and
20.
because you're looking for signs, I want you to make a perception roll.
Oh, sure. 16?
You don't notice signs of the shifter. What you do notice is that when the bartender put a token down near each of the halflings actually sneered, did something, and the one collected all the tokens and went to brush them onto the floor, but the bartender caught them, put them away, nodded before coming back to you, as if the drinks were refused. But only NorthWatch caught a sight of this because he was looking around for signs. Looking around for other signs of the shifter and whatnot, you pick up the fact that the table where the halflings are, where you were noticing, has numerous claw marks, and the leg that was broken in repairs has actual what appear to be teeth marks on it. You have no idea if it's a shifter, but you've seen shifters go berserk and attack things before, so that wouldn't surprise you in the slightest.
NorthWatch will linger a little bit longer next to the table full of halflings than is probably socially acceptable, observing this information.
In the meantime, Lythandr has been noticing the fact that those chips near the drunk guy don't seem to be guarded at all.
Can I make a sleight of hand check to take them?
Absolutely you can.
Yay. All right. Let's see here.
Oh!
I think she takes them.
I think none of you see anything. You see nothing. As Lythandr just quietly pockets away 3 chips. Gets the guy a drink.
Like kleptomaniac.
Goodness.
In the meantime, Barry, who has been invited to play music and whatnot, but sadly has no instruments whatsoever, has the opportunity, shall we say, to notice something else. Barry, would you please make a, instead of a perception roll, an insight roll?
It's not insight.
Barry, you know, actually you do very well.
What?
You notice that the halflings who are, I know, you notice that the halflings who have been carefully trying to avoid eye contact with you, obviously they feel very challenged by your wizardly skills. Somebody has let loose the knowledge that you're a powerful wizard, and these halflings know it. Either they've come to see you and test you, but they might be a little afraid of your magic. Your insight is
I will
solid.
happily stroll over there and introduce myself. I'll walk up to them and say, "Hi there. I just wanted to let you know that you are in the presence of a fine and masterful wizard. And if there's any wizarding that you possibly could need of, as my services as a master wizard, Barry Dimwater, the master wizard, I would be overjoyed to assist you.
He is quite well known.
The halfling stands up, which leaves him at about the same height as he was when he was sitting down. Looks up at you and says, "Wizard, eh? Well, let me tell you what I think of wizards."
Okay, tell
And he
me.
spits on the ground. He goes, "Ain't worth squat. You know, Sharn's got natural magic." He goes, "And if you think I'm one of them tavern keepers, one of them halflings that just invites people in, you're just racist." He goes, "I don't care nothing for you wizards." He goes, "Nothing. Hear me?" He goes, "Why don't you go back over to the bar with your big friend over there?"
I'd watch who you're talking to. That wasn't very nice. I didn't want to, get upset. And I'm sure you actually really like wizards because, I mean, look at me. I'm awesome. So.
"Nah, don't like any of the wizards." You notice one of the other guys laughing at the table, and he goes, "Sit down, Burke."
How can you not like wizards? I'm a magic. Watch this. Like, to NorthWatch. Throw me the loot.
Hills. NorthWatch will remove the loot from his cloak, and he looks at it for a moment, shrugs, and then he overhand throws it at Barry.
Oh my gosh.
He said throw it.
Make an athletics check to try and catch this thing before it breaks, please. First, we're going to make this double time. NorthWatch, make an attack roll. Let's see how good you roll. To make it
14.
on target.
I have a -1
Should be super
modifier.
easy. It's not a big in.
Okay, so we'll just do, I guess, dexterity plus proficiency.
Sounds great.
Okay,
Sounds
so
great.
You're proficient in loot throwing?
Wow! NorthWatch.
that'd be a 7.
Boom, I caught
NorthWatch
it.
is like overhand throwing it at you, but throws it extra hard and is like, woof! Throws it right at you, and Barry, with his roll, literally catches it, swings it around above the heads, and strums it as he comes off. Totally as if this was entirely planned. Barry's elegant, man.
I had my doubts about this plan, but now I understand.
And as he strums it, that he will cast Unseen Servant
Oh my.
and toss it towards wherever he conjured the servant, and will instruct it to just start plucking at the strings in an order that he thinks sounds impressive, but probably really isn't.
With one strum of the strings, Barry releases magical energy that surrounds the air on top of the halfling's table, right where all the drinks are, but then releases the flute, which suddenly seems to start playing itself above the halfling's table. Do you want that unseen servant to go elsewhere? Or just stay there and play the lute?
I'll have it dance around the room as it does so.
The lute begins to move around the room.
And I'll have
playing
it
this-
jump on one of the halflings' heads
Oh my
as it
goodness.
moves.
Go ahead. Go for it, buddy.
Okay. That's the... Yeah.
Oh, I remember.
As the loop begins to strum, it's something that is so not music. It just sounds absolutely horrible. The NorthWatch, the Warforged, seems to catch the beat and dance. The shoulders moving back and forth.
He's way
In the
off beat.
meantime,
There's nothing approaching a rhythm here.
in the meantime, Alpha seems entirely distracted, Lythandr realizes. And Lythandr goes, "Oh, he does have that pocket full of tokens and the silver and some copper." Iounia, on the other hand, notices that perhaps the man at the end of the bar may be dead.
What?
Go over.
Only Iounia has noticed this.
Well, just kind of nudge his shoulders slightly.
That escalated.
Sir? Sir?
He's either
Check for
dead
a pulse.
asleep. Okay, you start to check for
Pulse, like
living
breathing.
life. You like, Ionia's over there messing with the guy at the end of the bar while Lythandr takes in the bartender, who seems distracted as much by the loot that seems to be moving over each of the halflings' heads. And some of the halflings are really, you've done a really great distraction job. They're looking up at this thing like, what the heck? And the other one says, Burke, relax, leave the wizard alone. Now he's doing God knows what. You check for the pulse, Iounia, and make a investigation roll. No, because you already noticed he's not moving. Investigation.
Or medicine.
Yes.
Iounia, you know he's dead. No pulse whatsoever. This guy's dead. The alcohol appears to have killed him.
Wherever we go.
Alfer, we have a problem, I think.
Can I try and, like, while he's distracted listening to her, try and steal some of that copper?
Well, you can. I'm going to allow you to make your roll, but you're now making it at disadvantage because you were just slipping your hand in when Iounia happened to get Alfer's attention, saying we have a problem.
I wanted to use her getting his attention as the distraction. And
Okay.
And I would assume I'm very distracting as well.
Then in that case, she's giving you the help action, and you have advantage.
Ooh, okay. Here.
Oh,
my gosh. You reach in, come out very quickly with a load of coins, some wooden chips, which are the free drinks, and a key.
A key? Ooh.
Alfer, in the meantime, who is walking away from her, is like, what? And he comes over there and looks, and he goes, hey, where does chips go? Thinking that obviously you were pointing out that that's the problem, that his chips are gone.
He's dead, I think. Gee.
He goes, dead? Puts his hand on his head and shoves him off the stool. And as soon as he does, the guy falls to the ground and goes, hey, I didn't spill my drink. Looks around, gets up, and like as he staggers, falls right into Iounia, knocking him towards the bar, which shakes on these two loose legs. And Alfer goes, dead? He goes, dead drunk maybe. He goes, hey, you having another drink or not? Give me one of them chips. And the guy's like, they're right. I need another chip. And I can't find them. Yeah, give me. Sure. Alfer, you owe me a drink, don't you? Alfer's like, get out of here. He goes, if you can't even find your own money. He goes, I've told you before. He goes, it's not a sleeping joint. In the meantime, you notice that the Boromir halflings have gone out and started leaving. And the reason you know they're Boromir halflings is because on the table is a note with a symbol that Lythandr recognizes.
Was it in Thieves' Camp?
There's Thieves' Camp written under it. What would normally look like a welcome, thanks for being here in Sharn. You notice that certain ones of the letters have been traced over, some have been put underneath, and the message is very simple. Instead of saying welcome to Sharn, it says you're dead, and you recognize the symbol of the Boromir clan, which is the local mafia. You've just been given your warning. Nobody else recognizes this, only Lythandr.
Sorry about you falling over. Are you okay? Maybe you've had a lot to drink. Think maybe you should stop?
He's kind of hanging on to you, and he goes, you're pretty. And he puts a handle on the side of your head and like starts rubbing along your cornrows in the side of your head, and he's like, I like hair. And then he puts his face back down into your chest and just kind of like wants to sleep standing up.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm having lots of fun, but shouldn't we find Wolfie guy? And he turns to talk to NorthWatch and say that.
NorthWatch will nod. Unfortunately.
Great dance moves, by the way.
Oh, I appreciate it. I've never danced before.
The unseen servant continues to strum away at the music, and Alfer asks, can you stop that?
Stop what?
the annoying sounds from that instrument. You said you cast a music spell, but that's like the worst music. You're driving my patrons out.
I don't hear any annoying sounds from that. I only hear awesome sounds.
NorthWatch slowly looks around at the extremely empty bar. At the mention of losing patrons, NorthWatch is just...
And then a wave of head, fine, and then the loot will fall to the ground. Sorry. That
can I catch it?
Sure, absolutely. Make an acrobatics check. Try and dive over there.
I feel like we need a percentile.
Can I do a dexterity saving throw?
Sure.
DM Barry says sure. Why not? What the heck? We're having fun.
Oh, hey, Barry's running the game. This is going to be a really...
That's a different game now.
We're going to be quite OP, I think.
Our viewers are all going, who's the DM?
I said that in response to what I said to myself, where can he even reach it? And then I was like, sure. I answered the question.
Legend, I can do a acrobatics or a dexterity saving throw if that would please you.
No, go ahead, man.
Okay. Oh, that's terrible. I'm going to go ahead and spend 3 plot points, if that's all right.
You really want to save that loot from falling 3 inches off the ground, don't you?
It means something to him, so yeah.
And you throw it overhead really hard.
He said, "Throw me the loot."
His friend asked him to do it.
Wow. So
would a 10 catch it?
No.
Oh, it wouldn't.
Well, actually, yeah. You know what? A 10 would. A 10 would. It's not that hard. The bar is small. So,
sure. Yeah. He realizes maybe just a second too late. He catches it probably at a bad point, like he pinches towards the top. Maybe he scuffs the wood on the loot a little bit.
Wait, I just saw what Legend did.
I was wondering if you were going to catch on to that. I figure our viewers already did.
What happened?
Oh.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
I get it.
I'm going to get a little roving DM token and just be like moving around from person to person. Oh, you're the DM now.
Old habits die hard, okay?
All right, so at Barry's prompting, NorthWatch will inform Barry that unfortunately he was not able to locate any solid evidence. He points out the scratches and the bite marks on the table that the halflings were sitting at, but there wasn't really much else to find.
Lean over to Alfred. Okay, now that they're gone, can you tell us if you know him?
Alfred looks, he goes, heck yeah, he goes, you're looking for Tars, man. He goes, Tars hung out with him all the time. He goes, came down here slumming. He goes, I think he grew up in the area. He goes, but tried to tell him not to hang out with people like that. He goes, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the business and I'm glad, Tars was willing to come in here. He goes, but dude, he goes.
Real quick, wasn't Tars the guy that got killed?
Actually,
yeah.
NorthWatch.
I was describing the murderer.
I know. That's why I say he hung out with Tars all the time.
Yeah,
Tars would come down slumming.
While he says that name, NorthWatch will actually look over his shoulder and say, "Wasn't that the name of the dead man?"
Yes. So do you know this other individual well because he killed Tars?
Alfar's eyes open up. He goes, yeah. He goes, Tars didn't seem like he fit here. He goes, but he kept coming in looking for something. He goes, and in the meantime, while Alfar talks, he picks up the note on the table, crumples it up, throws it away, and says, he goes, individuals come in here. He goes, they're always looking for something. He goes, and the individual you're talking about, well, he takes jobs that, shall we say, nobody else wants. He goes, so he took this one, I'm sure. He goes, Tars have been looking for people for somebody to do a job, something about good pay. He goes, and I told him I'd let people know. I let the halflings know. I let some others know. And he goes, eventually one of my regulars decided that he'd meet up with Tars. He goes, so I saw them hanging out for the last 2 weeks. They were always chatting.
Do you know who this individual was?
He goes, yeah, he goes, he has a place not too far from here. He goes, comes in all the time. He goes, But he goes, you gotta watch out. He goes, gets too much liquor, and he points at the table. He goes, and that was why when you described the wolfish grin, he goes, that toothy smile, he goes, telling you, the guy actually is half werewolf. He goes, he changes. He goes, and gets crazy. He goes, and whatever you do, don't let him drink. He goes, when he gets crazy and he's drunk, he goes, he'll attack anybody. He goes, but yeah, he goes, he lives probably about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. He goes, if it's worth a gold to you, he goes, I might be able to give you some directions.
Lythandr, you got any more of those coins?
I'll have some coins.
I don't think that will be
I'd like some more drinks. We can all go for just pulling out coins.
I need a drink. I need a gold coin.
Wait, I thought you only had one of those coins. Where did the...
Want my gold?
We're trying to get the location of the murderer.
I am relatively
Fine.
confident in my capabilities.
I'll give them a gold.
He's like, shut down watch there. But Fletcher's just like, I can do it, guys. I can do it.
Iounia was like, he said gold. There is a plan. Lythandr has the coins, apparently.
Here is a gold.
I thought you said you spent all the gold.
I acquired more from doing an odd job.
When?
In the past 20 minutes?
Yes. People require me for all sorts of things. I'm constantly getting paid.
That's
What
true.
have you done here?
Oh, it wasn't something that I did here. It was something that I had done earlier. Somebody came by and gave me my pay. You missed it.
Now that NorthWatch is starting to recognize a pattern in this group's behavior, he will quietly excuse himself and see if he can maybe try to catch wind of. If it's only 10 minutes away, that's essentially just like a hop for this individual. Like that is no distance at all. So he's going to try and track this shifter, try to pick up something, anything, if that's okay.
You absolutely can attempt that. Go ahead and make a nature check.
Nature.
Yeah, because all that he's left behind is the fur, and that's all you have to track it by, so you're going for scent.
I mean, I could.
I don't know how... Warforged don't really scent that well. What are you thinking? What do you want to go with?
Scent, but so... Well, that's the thing, is that he has favored enemy against shifters, and what that says is that I have advantage on wisdom survival to track favored enemies. It doesn't necessarily say what scent is used, what sense is used to do so. So I'll go by your discretion, obviously, but
you know what?
plan was
I'm
to
very
use the-
flexible on it. The problem is again, you're...
Like, what's the basis, right?
Yeah.
So, I like to think that where Warforged, from my understanding, don't necessarily taste or smell in the way that we do, but those senses exist in some other way. They don't know how to describe it the same way, but they can utilize it for these ends if they're meant to do so. And this is exactly what NorthWatch was built for.
Beautiful. Yeah, so stepping out for a second, rules as written is that you're never hindered by picking your race, but even the race talks about the fact that these senses are supposed to be muted. The beauty of what you just did as a player was talking about how was I built? What was this character built for? Therefore, whatever Kenneth Forge made you specifically for this purpose, even though you may not have a nose, you would still be able to pick this up, whether it's coming in through the mouth, whatever else. It doesn't really matter. All that's open. The point is that you can track. So again, whatever you're using to follow it, I was just talking scent because I'm trying to go off of the fur, and it's not like there's any fur around to say, oh, look, or footprints around to go, hey, I'm following this guy now. So I was just trying to, bring it together for you. So that's great. Sure. You're working this thing. Go ahead and make your, you already rolled it. Look at that.
I have advantage, which means I get a 15.
Yeah, it's far better. I was about to say, it's far better than the 15 on the other side, so.
I don't know, which 15 should I pick, do you guys? Left 15?
Left.
Right 15? Left 15?
Left.
I'm feeling left 15.
Okay, then we're going to go with the left one, which is a good thing, because if you pick the right one, entirely different answer.
Awful.
I got you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Using the description that the bartender gives you, you follow the directions to down 2 levels further into the Dura. And you actually come to a doorway that is set into the side of the actual cliff itself. Literally, somebody has, and you've seen numerous spots along the way where they've created alleyways and whatnot going inside the plateau. But here, they've built a door on it that is a steel frame door. The wood itself appears to be wood, but you having a warrior's background and whatnot as a ranger, you're like, this is more like a fortification. This is not like the other areas that you've passed by. Lythandr knows instantly, you're like, ooh, whenever they fortify something, there's something important behind that. And you were told that this would be his area. Now, it does not lead, the directions that Alfred gave you do not lead directly to this door. He said it would be further down, yet the scent that you're tracking leads here.
Okay. Getting lost in this, I suppose he's doing this while the other 3 are trying to figure out what to do about the gold situation and Lythandr's side jobs.
So are we figuring out where you want me to go on?
I was going to say, no, I was actually going to ask, are you going into this, or are we going past it? Do we want to go more for the direction that Alfred gave you, or do you want to go in here?
To try and clear up any miscommunication, NorthWatch left while we were doing the gold thing. We paid the gold, we get the directions, we leave. We'll probably catch up since you're trying to smell and stuff like that, just to reunite the group and everything. We get here, and we're like, the directions say go this way, and you're like, but I smell from here.
Yeah.
Wow,
so
take a plot point.
Yeah, specifically what I was trying to indicate is that NorthWatch, in this very short period of time, recognizes that these 3 like to start talking to each other, and that takes some time. And he would utilize his time, because he has trouble following along with them, tracking instead, because that's a better thing for him to do.
Beautiful. So yeah, NorthWatch is there. He's already tracked it this far, and because the directions actually led this way, what you realize is that NorthWatch appears to be hung up. He obviously can't follow the directions that Alfred gave you, because you know it's further down.
Down here. Alfred said down here.
Alright.
Yeah, once they reconvene, he'll guide them to where he has tracked the scent to instead, and say, despite his directions, I believe this is where our quarry has gone.
It does seem safe.
Quite.
Is there a door to knock on?
Yes, I've already described the
Knock, knock,
wooden
knock,
door.
knock, knock.
Yeah, the big wooden and steel door.
Yep.
Yes, knock, knock, knock.
Does it have a lock on it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Will my key
Is
fit the lock?
Your key looks like it's way too tiny. This is a very hefty lock, and your key looks more like it's for a jewelry box.
Yeah,
Something small. It fit in with coins.
Have to come back for that.
You continue to bang at the door, and when
no!
you're still talking, when literally, and there is nothing, it is beautiful wood, like solidly put together, and magically this rectangle appears and slides to the side, and you see eyeballs on the other side. They're half-elven eyes, and they look out at you and they say, what do you want?
We're here looking for a friend of Tar's.
Who's Tars?
Describing Tar's.
He's looking past you, trying to take everybody else in that's standing there. He goes, never heard of him. And it slides shut again.
Knock, 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 knock.
It ignores you for the first time, and when you knock again, it slides back, and it says, what do you want?
Well, the individual we're looking for is actually this man with this really big toothy grin and stuff, beginning to describe.
He's a
the front.
shifter, NorthWatch says, leaning in.
He's a shifter.
There's 1 second. Slides it shut. 1 second turns into 5 seconds, into 10 seconds, into a minute, minute and a half.
2
And
minutes.
all of a sudden, it slides back again. Different set of eyes this time. Older individual. Skin looks kind of pale. The eyes look out and says, "Who are you all? What do you want with the grin? What do you know about him? Where is he?"
The grin?
"Yeah. You said you were looking for the shifter, right? Yuck?
Yes.
Yuck. No?
You see, we spotted him earlier, and he left an object behind. We seek to return it."
The eyes continue to be perplexed, and he goes, "You're saying Yuck stole something? But
No, he
returned
lost
it.
something.
I'm
He
confused."
dropped it.
He goes, "Middle of the night, and you come here looking for the Yuck. You're out of your mind." He goes, "I'd sooner kill him than anything else." And he slides it shut in your face again. Opens it back up, and he goes, the old eyes say, "You know, you may be pretty, but you ain't that pretty, and I ain't that young." He goes, "Keep banging on my door, and I'm going to have my boy come out there, shove that fist right up your behind."
That would be really uncomfortable. Can you just point us to where he is?
He goes, "You listening?" He goes, "Are them cornrows on your head pulled too tight? I just told you I'd kill him if I saw him." He goes, "I think if I knew where he was, he'd already be dead."
Did he steal something from you?
He goes, "You got any clue where you are?" He goes, "You think I'm going
Sharn?
to talk to you with that thing next to you? You're out of your mind."
What
And he's
thing?
not talking about the Warforged. He's talking about the watch that is still with you.
Oh,
And he shuts
right.
the door again. The
Oh,
little
knock,
portal.
knock, 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 knock. Please, we're trying to find him, and he is in trouble, so if you really hate him, it's advantageous to help us find him.
Cable says from behind you, he goes, "I'm not authorizing you to kill anybody." He goes,
I didn't threaten to kill anybody.
just making that clear right now. He goes, "I'm not doing anything illegal for you. I'm trying to help you get off the hook, not further onto it."
I'm aware I didn't threaten to kill anybody, but if somebody has a grudge against someone, then in theory, like getting them arrested or something is also a good thing.
The little
Yeah.
slide thing comes back and forth, back open once more. This time it's the original eyes looking out at you, and it says, "You were told to lay off." It goes, "What's the deal?" It goes,
Please, he killed somebody, and we're kind of on the hook for it right now. We're trying to find him. If you really don't like him, then we'd really appreciate your help.
If you have the information, we have the motivation.
"Ooh, make a persuasion roll."
Those words almost rhymed. Whoa.
Woo! 24.
Wow.
Wait, how do you?
So
The door
three of
opens
us are very charismatic in this group, and one of us is a giant walking, robot.
A golem, but
No.
The door opens, and you realize it's a bent over Goliath. And he comes out from inside, pulls the door closed behind him, stands up to his full height, which is just, how tall are you as a Warforged? Seth?
I believe I described NorthWatch as being about 6'5", 6'6", in that range.
Okay, so he's way bigger than you as he stretches out, and you realize just to come through the doorway, he was bent over. And he says, "Look, the Blue Ost already lost his daughter to the Grin." He goes, "He ain't gonna help you." He goes, "I don't know what brought you here or why you thought you'd get help, but he just wants him dead. I don't know what information I can give you other than Yek's got a price on his head. He goes, if the Grin shows himself anywhere around here, he goes, Oss is going to have him killed. He goes, he put a bounty on him with the Boromar. He goes, to tell you the truth, he goes, I'm pretty sure the Boromar turned him down.
Well, if there is bad blood, then perhaps I have some pertinent information. The reason that we're here is because I tracked this Grin to this very door.
Yeah. He goes, trapped him here. He goes, no, that's impossible. Can't have trapped him here.
I have made mistakes in the past, but I must admit that it is very rare.
He goes, Yek wouldn't show his face around here. He ain't been here for, heck, 2-3 months. Now you know the scent is much fresher than that.
Like, do I know, like, a general time frame?
Days. Maybe, could be less. It's tough because you're in a city and there's lots of other scents.
I'm not
That's
used
what
to
also
this.
tells you. That's also what tells you it's strong enough. With all the other scents here, the fact that you can smell it tells you it's still fresh.
Best I can figure, he's actually been here within the last few days.
Individual says, nah. If I could have found him, I wouldn't have had to drag all his stuff back here. What's over here? He goes, yeah, when I cleaned out his house. He goes, we were trying to find him, so thought maybe Blue Osh could like do some of that spell stuff or pull in a favor to find him, but didn't work.
What kind of stuff was in his house?
I mean, that's probably what the scent is.
How long ago did you guys take his stuff?
He goes, I went by earlier today. Nobody's seen him. He goes, so I just kind of cleaned out his little ramshackle shack.
What if he came back to take some of it back?
Well, then let him start looking for it. He goes, all we need to do is find him.
All right. Do you happen to know maybe why the Boromir would deny the offer? Like, does he maybe work for them?
He goes, I ain't never heard the Boromar turning down anything. He goes, man, you got money. He goes, they'll take care of it. He goes, no questions asked. He goes, if the money's right. He goes, them little halflings and everybody that works for him. He goes, of course, Yek wanted to work for him. He goes, but that was exactly the problem. He goes, why Ost's daughter, he goes, fell in love with him. He goes, figured he was all Billy Bad Boy, but he was nothing but trouble. He goes, Ost knew it the whole time, and sure enough, now she's dead.
How did she end up dying?
He goes, that's what Ost wants to know. He goes, if Blue Ost ever gets a hold of Yek, that boy is going to be deader than dead.
It sounds like this individual is dangerous, as I would have predicted a shifter to be.
He goes, leans back, snaps his knuckles, and goes, tell you what, I snapped that little fool in half. He goes, he comes around here, he goes, always snarling and acting like he was tough. He goes, I'd have kicked his butt all day long, except for the fact that Ost's daughter didn't want me to. He goes, I don't know. He goes, personally, I'd have thought that would have been the faster way to get rid of him. None of this. Then we boss wouldn't have had to try and do a contract at all. Just take him out straight and fast.
Well, from what I understand, it seems like we have a common goal. Unless I'm misunderstanding. And he looks to Iounia to see if she can confirm.
We have a common goal in certainly apprehending this individual and wanting to see them off of the streets at the very least, in one manner or another. Do you happen to know if the Yek had some sort of like family or something somewhere else?
Heck no, he goes. That was part of one of the problems. He goes, she fell in love with him because he was a loner. That is what he liked to call himself anyway. He goes, I personally think nobody in the world wanted to bother with him. He goes, always wanting more, always wanting this. He goes, always picturing the big score, the big this, how he was going to make it famous and one day be all the way up in the Skyway. He goes, fool had dreams way beyond his reach. He goes, ain't nobody but the rich up there in the Skyway. And then that's going to get pushed off the edge and come plummeting back down to their death.
And his house is just down there?
He goes, if nobody else taking it by now, he goes, sure, shack down there on the right-hand side. He goes, you really can't miss it. He goes, there's gigantic scratch marks going from the top down to the bottom of the door. I think it was his way of marking it as if he was some Billy bad boy. Seems to like that phrase.
That sounds like it would be very easy to find.
He goes,
Alright.
yeah. He goes, you find him. He goes, come back and let us know. He goes, I'm sure Oz would be glad to make you the same offer as the Boromar. He goes, he just wants answers. He goes, we get a hold of him, we'll get the answers out one way or the other.
Thank you very much for your time. Sorry to disturb you so late at night.
He goes, yeah. He goes, kind of tough to watch an old man like that just kind of cry himself to sleep. He goes, if you don't find him, he goes, or if, let's say you don't find him alive, he goes, bring back something to show that he's dead. He goes, kind of like to at least show the old man that. He goes, I don't know, maybe that stupid, face, tooth, something like that. You just think you could do that?
If we find him, if he's dead, we'll bring something back for you.
Not for me, for the old man. This huge Goliath seems to be more caring than any Goliath that any of you have met before. And you guys, again, you've all been through the war. You've seen Goliath in rages. You've seen them battle. You've seen strong ones. And we're talking the women as well as the men. But this one just seems to be almost more peaceable, as if there's something more gentle about his spirit. He thanks you for being willing to do that for him. And then he heads back inside, closing the door behind it, and you hear some locks fall into place. And Lythandr especially notes it was multiple locks, even though the door appears to have only one, triggering Lythandr's sense that, just like that magic viewing port, there's some other things at play there.
Alright. Well, that explains the scent and the conflicting information. Let's go check out his house now. Maybe he came back here afterwards, found it empty, and figures it's a good place to lay low.
It's possible he maybe has a secret doorway or some sort of hideaway.
Something like that, yeah. We're off to see the Grin.
The Grin, yes.
You head down to the Grin's house, and it's easy. There's these scratch marks making a large X right from the top of the door to the bottom. It's been gone over and over and over, as if somebody was just grinding it into the door. And yet the door isn't even well built. It's boards that have gaps in them and whatnot. And you realize why the Goliath called it a shack. Literally, you can push the door open. It doesn't even latch strongly. Inside, most of the furniture is beaten up, broken, put back together, similar to the Rat's Paw Tavern that you were at. Inside, there's an old rickety bed and whatnot. Literally, just a straw inside of a mattress. There's some blankets nearby and whatnot. But it appears that there's nothing valuable in the room. Everything's been taken out. There's the leftover bed. There's some furniture, things like that. But it appears empty. There's no books. There's no furnishings on top. I mean, other than the furniture itself, there's no decorations.
Can you smell him?
Is this the place we're looking for?
The entire place smells like the Grin now. You know you're actually at where he was.
Yes, he has spent an extended amount of time here.
Alright. Let's start looking around. See if we can find any, hidden crawl spaces to lay low or anything like that.
I'll allow each of you to make an investigation check.
Super good at those.
14!
10.
7.
Poor Lythandr, the thief is like, I can't find anything right now.
You had too many good rolls tonight.
Is Barry any
Eventually
good
I had to
at,
stop.
and is Barry any good at investigating?
Oh
Oh my goodness!
goodness!
Whoa!
Iounia, who starts looking immediately,
What can I say?
says,
I'm a wizard. I use magic.
that's it. Iounia starts looking around, going over everything. She's looking for secret passages and whatnot, and she even goes so far as to move the bed and whatnot because she realizes there's drag marks that show the bed's been moved more. But Barry, who's chanting spells the whole time he walks around, describes very quickly, he's holding up the rickety straw mattress while Iounia has moved the bed to search the ground and see if she can move it, and he goes, look, he goes, my detect magic. He goes, right here, inside, and he shows you the rip inside the thing, and he goes, look, I detected this, it's magic, and he's holding a piece of paper that looks like a ticket of some sort. Upon closer inspection, you start looking at it, and it's got the same symbol as House Orion, and it describes a lightning rail, and it's a ticket for 1, and it leads, you can't tell where because part of it has been ripped off. There's this familiar signature at the bottom, and the shimmery glow of the seal that shows that this is a proper House Orion ticket to the lightning rail. And the last thing you can tell on it, you can't tell where because the actual dock has gotten off of it, and you can't tell the time, but from what you can tell, you've now gone into the next day because we started at midnight, and it's got today's date on it. So this is a ticket to leave here, but somebody wanted to rip the corner off of it in the time, leading you to believe that Yak plans to leave the city some point today.
We're sorely out of luck without his ticket, but
Take the ticket and zoom.
yeah, let's go. Let's go try and cut him off.
At the lightning rail.
There you go, and that's where we'll end it for tonight. You guys will have to plan how you plan to get to the, not only get to the lightning rail, but know what time to be there without Yak noticing you. So, this has been a great start to our night. Our characters now have not only pursued Yak the Grin into the lower areas of Sharn, but discovered that Yak has more of a criminal past than they ever thought, and has possibly crossed not only the Boromir clan, but the Blue Ost, as well as killing somebody up top who worked for the Orion clan. Or excuse me, House Orion. We still don't know why. We still don't know what or for whom, but we have a good idea where, if not the when. And that's where we're going to pick it up next week when we get back together. So, with no further ado, I want to thank you all for watching here tonight. This has been an absolute blast. We've had a really good time. We hope you found it as interesting and engaging as we did. This has been a lot of fun. I want to thank you all for watching tonight. Everybody got anything to say to all our awesome viewers that we had here tonight?
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for watching. That was a lot of fun.
You guys always make the chat exciting.
Wait, that was too quick.
Oh.
Was it too quick?
No, me. I had the thing on studio mode and clicked over too fast.
Oh, are we off now?
No, we're not. We're not.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So,
Hi,
hey,
guys, we're
everybody,
back.
bye. We're back. Why not to do that?
We can all be wizards here.
Oh, I like that. God bless. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
9 o'clock.
See you next week,
We'll be
everyone.
making more amazing stories. Bye.
That was a surprise.
Okay.